I still use a lot of his stuff in my teaching, like this kishkur, these small circles.
Yes.
This is amazing.
I need to do more small circles.
Amazing preparation. Until the day today, he one day came up to me and he just held my fist and said, "Ooh, too strong, too stiff." And I do it to all my pupils today.
Yeah.
I go and I feel
what they're feeling,
and how much tension they have in the arms.
Yes.
And this is a real game changer.
And whenever we would arrive at the stable every morning, every day, every single day, we had to go to, it was like custom to go to the arena and ask permission to enter, look him in the eye, say good morning, and then he would shake his hand.
Yeah.
And he would like, if you didn't hit it just right, like he was crushing your little hand. And it was amazing because, but then riding, you would feel like, whoa, this guy is like holding on. But he was never strong.
No.
And he would always be like, yeah, I remember that too. Of like, and it was so cute because the English was like his third language. So it'd be like, oh, Jessica, too strong, or like Naama, too strong. And you're like, I shake your hand every day.
Yeah, that's
how I'm trying to be stronger, and it was like, no.
Do you love dressage? Are you looking to inspire your ride? Do you long to learn the secrets of truly great riders? Yes? Then you're in the right place. Join classically trained, internationally competitive dressage rider JJ Tate as she brings inspired conversations, in-depth discussions, and a healthy dose of humor to the world of dressage. Join JJ and her new generation of classical riders in this adventure called Dressage Life. In this episode, JJ sits down with Naama Segev Hasson, Israeli dressage rider, personal friend, and mutual student of both Olympic rider Gyula Dallos and rider biomechanics expert Susanne von Dietze. They talk about their shared experience during their time together in Budapest, Hungary, the riding scene in Israel, life lessons, and reconnecting after 20-plus years thanks to a surprising connection. Naama also shares her thoughts on her experience auditing the recent clinic with JJ's lifelong mentor, Charles de Kunffy. And now, here's JJ.
Hey guys, welcome back. So today I have an extra special guest with me today. She's actually here in the United States watching our Charles de Kunffy clinic here at Blue Ridge Farm, but I want to welcome my friend Naama. So tell them the story about just how we first met and then how we kind of like met again.
Okay.
And just like who you are and like where you're from. And
okay, so first thanks to having me here, and I'm very excited. I think after 20-something years that we haven't met, like 2 years ago, we reconnected through our mutual friend, Susanne von Dietze. And it was great fun 2 years ago in Susanne's clinic, and now with Charles, after hearing so much about him in the academy.
Yeah, the professor, Charles.
Yeah.
What's amazing about this reconnection is that Naama and I met in Budapest, Hungary, approximately 25 years ago when we were both training with Gyula Dallos. And so I thought it would be really fun not only to hear about, what Naama's up to in Israel and what the dressage scene looks like in Israel, and she just started together with Susanne von Dietze, which you guys all know, I ride with, and that's how we reconnected. But I thought it would be also fun to sort of start out and just reminisce about the past a little bit, about like how did you find Gyula, and what was your experience like there?
Okay, so at the time, my husband today, boyfriend at the time, we arrived at Budapest to study. He studied veterinary science, and I just stumbled upon dressage in Budapest because I saw Dallos in Eurosport in the '95 World Cup, Volvo World Cup. He came fifth with his horse Action, and I said, "Wow, there's dressage in Budapest." So I just went looking for him. I went to the federation's office, and it was in the stable. And I went to the offices and I asked, I'm looking for Mr. Gyula Dallos. They said, well, he's in the indoor, just go over. That was his wife, apparently. And I met him in the indoor. He did not speak English, but there was a kind, I think his name was Steve.
Yes, yes.
He was the translator, and then he just told me, well, come Wednesday with riding gear, and I'll see you ride. That's how I started, just like that.
And a part of the story she's leaving out is, how did you guys get from Israel to Budapest? Because that was a great story we shared the other day about taking chances and having the courage to go see about something. Like, really, well, I'll let you tell the story, and then we'll talk about the life lesson behind it.
Okay, so the veterinary faculty in Israel is really tiny, like 30 at the time, 30 or 40 people the whole year, every year from the whole country. So after 2 years, first degree, we were looking to study abroad because I wanted to ride. So our first choice was Netherlands, but it was, you had to study Dutch and then get into a lottery or something. So you
might not make it in. Yeah. Even if you did all the work, they might not pick you in the lottery.
Yeah, so then we heard about a good school in South Africa, and I knew there were a lot of horses in South Africa.
That would be fun.
Yeah, so that was the second choice, but then they changed somehow the rules, and if you came from a country that has a faculty vet school, you cannot enroll. Mm. And then one day I saw this little tiny ad in the newspaper that there is a veterinary school with an English program. And I said to Danny, look, there's something in Budapest, Hungary, which we didn't know much about. And then a few days after, there was this in Eurosport, the Volvo Cup with Dallos. I said, okay, we're going.
Hungary it is.
Yeah, that's how we arrived, really knowing nothing. I was expecting like a very, old city with nothing in it.
Yeah.
We arrived at the airport and took a taxi, and these old cars, these Trabants, these Russian old cars on the way from the airport.
This is in 1996, mind you.
Yeah. Everything was old, and I said, okay, this is, a little bit what I expected. But then we arrived in Budapest, and suddenly we arrived to Octagon Square.
Yeah, oh,
beautiful.
God.
And then you had on one side, I don't know, Burger King, Wendy's, McDonald's.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, we won't starve. That's what I thought when I got there. I'm like, well, I'm not going to die here.
Yeah.
I can eat something.
Okay, there is some progress here.
Yeah, that's so funny. Like, I had the really similar experience too, because and it's fun because Gail is here, my first trainer. She's here at the clinic as well, so I'm gonna get her in an interview as well. But she had contacted Charles, and Charles came to our farm in Wisconsin, which is a super tiny place, and I had been riding with him for probably 7 years, I think, at the time. And I had written him a letter, because that's what we did back in the day with a pen and a paper. I wrote a letter to Charles, and I'm like, I want to study in Europe. I'm assuming Germany is where I was going to be going. And he's like, oh, well, the Spanish riding school, Arthur Cotas at the Spanish riding school in Vienna, or this Gyula Dallos in Hungary. And I'm like, what? Where is even Hungary? Like, what? I thought I was going to Germany. I wanted to go to Germany. And he's like, yeah, and he's got a daughter about your age. I think Gyula would be much better choice because he'll be able to give you a lot more individual attention. Sure. Arthur would be busy with the school. And I was like, okay, that sounds great. I'll go there. So, like, Charles calls him up at lunchtime, speaks a whole bunch of Hungarian. And then that was it. In October, I was headed over with 2 horses. And it was like, it was just amazing. And it was the same experience. Yeah. I mean, I didn't know what. My mom came with me, and I'm looking out the airplane. I'm like, oh my God, I love it. I love it. And she's looking out, and it's like communist, like drab, gray. Yeah, she's like, oh my God, where am I dropping my kid off? And I'm like, I love it. We get to the old, because I think they shut that airport down like the next year, because we arrived and it was like, I mean, guns with like bullets, and I was like, whoa, do not.
It was not so, I think 89, the wall fell. It was still really a bit of a communist
Yes,
atmosphere.
feeling,
Yeah.
exactly. Like it's kind of giving me the chills to think about how big of a moment in history we were actually there while it was like changing into, you know, a free country in a way. You know, it was really amazing. So Naama and I both were able to ride with Gyula Dallos, who is the Hungarian Olympian, and he went to I don't know how many World Cups, like so many. And his Gray Stallion Acción was like, they were amazing together. And so both Naama and I actually both experienced watching him. I was actually in Los Angeles and she watched him on Eurosport. So in 1995, he was awesome at the World Cup. And so we both had that shared experience. Also, we're like, we're going there. I want to ride like that, you know? And so I thought it'd be really fun to like go through, like, you guys all are really familiar with what I say in the academy of like, Jessica, more control. Like there's all these like Gyula-isms. And so I thought it would be great to, you know, hear what Naama thinks about, because he's still in my riding, you know, it's like the way he would teach and what he would say is like so universal and powerful even 25 years later. So yeah, if you want to share with us your experience and what you thought of him as a rider, because that was also special, and also as a teacher.
Well,
do you want to learn how to communicate in a way that your horse can better understand? Check out Team Tate Academy, JJ's online classical dressage academy. As a member, you'll gain clarity through the USDF accredited lesson library, monthly Zoom meetings, and twice monthly live study group called the Tack Room Chats. Join the community and benefit from connecting with a fun, passionate, and like-minded group of dressage lovers just like you. Be supported and empowered to make the progress you and your horse deserve, regardless of age, level, or background. Be inspired. JJ's commitment to your success shines through in every lesson and lecture. Let JJ's belief in you and your horse transfer over to every one of your rides. Visit teamtateacademy.com/podcast today to join the waitlist for the next open enrollment.
I still use a lot of his stuff in my teaching, like this kishkur, these small circles.
Yes.
This is amazing.
I need to do more small circles.
Amazing preparation. Until the day today, he one day came up to me and he just held my fist and said, "Ooh, too strong, too stiff." And I do it to all my pupils today.
Yeah.
I go and I feel
what they're feeling,
and how much tension they have in their arms. And this is a real game changer.
And whenever we would arrive at the stable every morning, every day, every single day, we had to go to, it was like custom, to go to the arena and ask permission to enter, look him in the eye, say good morning, and then he would shake his hand. And he would like, if you didn't hit it just right, like he was crushing your little hand. And it was amazing because, but then riding, you would feel like, whoa, this guy is like holding on. But he was never strong.
No.
And he would always be like, I remember that too. Of like, and it was so cute because the English was like his third language. So it'd be like, oh, Jessica, too strong, you know, or like Naama, too strong. And you're like, I shake your hand every day.
Yeah, that's how
I'm trying to be stronger, you know. And it was like, no. It was so interesting that kind of.
I think that's when I really understood a little bit this clear borderline and softness.
Yes.
Like,
tone.
Yeah. The way he would stand, the way he would sit on the horse, the way he would lunge, just standing there, and just like, this energy with not.
And like this weird, like groundedness, yet stability and authority, yet not authoritative.
Very
it's
quiet.
Like,
very quiet.
And like serene, but there's power there. It was really, and like lunging, he would not, I mean, I know we learned this, you know, proper lunging from USDF and all that stuff, that you're not supposed to like walk around and do all this stuff. But I mean, he literally was just like planted and grounded. And then you'd see him in the saddle, and he was literally like a centaur. Like
he was the same. Very effective, very quiet.
Yeah.
I've never seen him lose his temper or go at a horse.
Yeah, ever. And I was there, I think, a little shy of 2.5 years, and eventually we moved out to his private stable, and I never once saw ever anything I would have felt ill about or like, oof, I feel uncomfortable. That's getting unfair to the horse or the horse is never.
No.
And he would always say like, you know, my horses, you know, are my friend, you know, and when you get to do what you love, you know, we hear this all the time. When you get to do what you love, you don't work a day in your life. But like he lived that. Like he was so, like he loved them. And like he would always help us from the ground with the whip. And I do remember a couple times it was like, Jessica, attention, you know, and I'm like, bah! You know, so I learned to like sit up really quick because, and the horses just found their rhythm and their piaffe. But it was never this like pressure, you know, he woke them up and then he let them do it. Yeah. It was really remarkable.
Even Danny, till the day he remembers, he says, oh, I remember Dallos. She would just stand behind the horse and go, and the horse would go.
Totally in his rhythm. Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, he had such a big influence on everyone.
Yeah, and like one of the biggest things too I took away was that along with those kishkur, those small circles, was the everyday working. He would always say like, Jessica, more working, you know, and it was like, okay. And even if the horse didn't feel great that day, like we went through almost the identical routine.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. That the warm-up was the same.
Yes.
Always you knew, the horses knew what to expect and you knew what to expect. And then you always took the stirrups away and rode without stirrups.
Yep.
And you just would repeat it and the horses would suddenly just go amazing.
Yeah, and it was so much repeating. And we always hear, you know, Charles talks about teaching is repeating. But it was like, I joke about, I'm like, I rode so many small circles and you did too. So many small circles and transitions till we were like blue in the face. Yeah. So many. Yeah. It was truly, and then the horse got so strong. Like a lot of times with horses that I'm like, this thing is so pulling or on the forehand and running through my half halt. I'm like, I need to Gyula Dallos this. I need to make an 8-meter circle, halt, trot, 8-meter circle, shoulder in, 8-meter circle, walk, trot, halt, rein back, trot, shoulder in, small circle, half pass, half circle, half pass back. Yeah. Because you definitely in our group lessons that we would all have on Saturday, because Sundays were off, you definitely got we learned real quick what Altwahltausch meant and Atlowahltausch meant, because one was change direction on a half circle and one was change direction on the diagonal.
I would just wait to see what they're doing and then I would just, okay, that's what we're doing now.
I was like, what does this mean? Where should I go?
It was amazing because like I had this 4-year-old stallion and you had
older horses.
And Erica, she had like this Priest St. George, amazing horse.
Oh my
and
God.
We all rode together.
Everyone.
And I did
Remember
like
that little lady
on
the chestnut mare who would always just go like zipping around? She rode in there too. She wasn't as consistent and she was a little older gal.
And Steve with his pink horse.
Yep.
Son of Action.
Oh my God, he looked identical.
Except with the color.
Yeah, and like there was like 12 of us in this. It was definitely a big arena, but I mean, we all synchronized the small circles. We all halted. Yeah. And it was this cool peer pressure of, you know, we didn't really speak Hungarian, so we're like, where are we supposed to be going? But it was also like, you couldn't make, you know, if you've got 2 horses in a 20-meter arena, you can't, your 8-meter circle.
You have to look around.
You got to look up and you got to make sure you're turning because, you know, the horses are going to, you know, come right at each other.
And he wouldn't say much more than like inside leg, outside rein. That's more or less. No.
And like, I guess maybe like general, like sit up, you know, and one of my favorites, he would say, Jessica, look at out. And I'm just like, I don't even know what that means. Does that mean like up or should I look out somewhere? I don't know. But it totally did the same thing. I'm like, Naama.
The moment he said, your name, you immediately
you're like, yeah, exactly. The minute he was like, Jessica, I'm like, yes, sir. And it wasn't because he was like, is the kindest man, like so loving horses and such a good temperament and positivity. So it wasn't like you were scared. Like I never felt like uncomfortable or like, oh, I'm gonna make him mad or he's yelling at me. Like never ever.
No.
But you were always like, yes, sir. Up, look at out. Anything specifically at out? Just out, somewhere out, you know? But it was like almost like look out of yourself and like see where you are in the world. And I would always get
direct translation from Hungarian probably.
Oh,
look
yeah.
out.
Exactly. And so was more down seat. I love that one too. Yeah. And I was like,
but that translates well.
That does. It totally. It's like there's this like you're not down, right? But there's this like as you sit more up, you sit more down.
Yeah.
And then you just let gravity like, because you watch him ride, you know. So that was the thing too. Like
these long legs.
Oh my God! Like his femur, like he had this power.
You remember
that like went through his femur and like down through his heel, and it was just like down leg.
Yeah. Were you at the show that he jumped?
No,
it was.
Oh my God!
Because he was an eventer.
Yes. Yeah, he almost made the Olympics as an event rider
and then
first.
He was injured or something.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly.
He was injured and then he couldn't participate.
Yeah.
But then they did in some show, I don't know, like for veterans or something. So he was jumping and everybody was rooting for him.
Oh my God. I remember we went to a horse show and it had rained and rained. I think it was in Austria somewhere, and it rained like it was like underwater. So they found like a scuba diving store in town. I don't even know how. We were like in Austria, like, you know. And so because he would always ride without stirrups, so then he's got like the goggles and like the thing, and they put flippers on him because they were doing like this costume freestyle class at night. The whole town, it reminded me of dressage at Devon actually, like the whole town came to watch these freestyles.
Had a sense of humor.
He came in his flippers and I mean, the crowd went crazy. Yeah, it was
a real crowd pleaser.
Yeah, so much fun. So many transitions. So much riding without stirrups. And he did too. I mean, that was what was amazing. He always did as well.
Flat legs.
Yes. I always got a lot of more activity.
Yeah.
More
definitely.
Jump in the canter. More control. More down seat. Always this one too. Jessica, more body riding. And I was like, you know, like I don't even, you know, my knees are going, like everything's loose. And he'd always be like, and he was always like, more body riding. And I'm like, okay, that in the down seat. And it's like, now still in my riding, Allie Brock and I had a whole winter about like, I told her, I'm like, I think I'm really starting to get my down seat. It's only like 25 years later. I'm like, okay, I'm a slow steady, but yeah, just amazing.
And I remember the day you arrived because there were
You're like, someone else speaks English.
Nobody spoke English except of Bea, his wife, but she wasn't around.
And Jofi, but she was also riding out at their house.
And I remember you were on the first stall on the right.
Yep, Aaron Price.
With the dark person.
Yep, the black one.
Yeah.
That was so fun.
Nice to have someone
speaking
English.
I know. I even before like we reconnected, I'm like, I had this one friend. She's from Israel. She spoke like perfect English. Oh, thank God she was there because otherwise I was talking, you know. And it's so cute. Like the girl, like this, like I was learning Hungarian, which was difficult, and then eventually I got my lessons in German, which was doable. But like I would talk to like the 7-year-old who was learning English, so she would speak English, and he was little Judith. She would come to ride Holly Gully and do her little lunch lessons, and so we would like, oh, how was your ride? Because it's like all I could. And she would answer me in her English, and I would talk in her Hungarian. It was awesome. But yeah, so tell me now also about Israel and what the equestrian sports looks like there and what you and Susanne von Dietze are up to.
Okay. So, Israel has horses because since the British were in Palestine, they left some horses and they had like this instructor school in the north. And the connection was to the British system mainly. Mm-hmm. So most of the first instructors, like my instructor, were AIs from England.
Okay, yep.
And for many years, there was one school who did all the instructors' courses. And so we had quite a steady line that everybody followed, which was the BHS system.
Yeah.
And then in the 80s, there were some riders going to the Netherlands and some trainers coming over.
Like a little exchange.
And I, as a teenager, rode with some Alex von Silfhout, and everybody went over there to ride with him. So there was this exchange, and then there was dressage and jumping, and everybody did everything. So I, as a teenager, had like one weekend I was jumping, and one weekend I was doing dressage.
Cool.
And it was a very, very small community.
Yeah.
Mainly in the center, a bit in the north. That's how everything started. And somewhere, I think, around, I don't know, the end of the 90s, the Western started really picking up. And today, Western is like reigning, and now we have this Cowboy Extreme is very popular.
Okay.
And then jumping. And dressage, obviously, is a small community.
Yeah.
With a lot of ladies and trainers. And so, yeah, I've been riding since I was, I don't know, 8.
Yeah.
Or 6 or 8. In this riding club and helping with the shows, you know, putting up the fences and scribing for the judge and running over and bringing the test. And then, you know, I was competing, jumping, and dressage, and then we have at some point we have the army service. It's 18, and I always had this vision. I wanted to be the best instructor I could be, more or less.
Yeah.
I never had really Olympic dreams, unlike many other riders, but that was not my dream. And so after in the army, I expected, you know, I tried to be a rider.
Yep.
Then you can do like a few hours and go and ride, but they sent me to be a commander, so it didn't work out.
Because you've got some authority too. You're like, I am a commander.
So 2.5 years, I did not step in the barn. I didn't even.
Yeah.
I like, what is this funny world? You know, it's a bit strange, and I really was away. But then, when I finished, I came to the barn and say hi to everybody, and that's how I stumbled back into this world. Although a few times I tried changing careers, but it just doesn't work.
Yeah. And I find that so cool and interesting that every young person in Israel has to go into the army. And so how long is it? Is it different for men and women? Is it a longer or shorter period of time?
For women, it's 2 years. And for men, it was 3 years. Now it's 2 years and 8 months.
Yeah.
And my father says that today the army is the best university.
Yeah.
Because you learn a lot of skills. You learn a lot of things about yourself. I think I completely changed through the army.
Yeah.
I was a very shy person. I'm still a shy person, but
Well, and then you were a commander.
So
not so shy.
It helps. Authority helps, you know. And you're at 18 out of your parents' house. And suddenly, you know, I was after, 4 months commanding on other
leading.
18 years old.
Kids,
you know,
I give it a chills.
Yeah.
I find that amazing. I mean, I didn't go to university. I went to Hungary at 18. And so that, like, independence and, I mean, I just find that what an amazing strength to give your people this power inside themselves to, before university, go and really get to know who they are through the army. Like, I just find that really powerful, you know, to, like, at 18, like, a lot of people go to college here and it's like, woo, you know, like, I don't have any rules, I gotta do anything. And this, like, it's a total different mindset of, like, discipline and
the rules. And they quickly make you a soldier. Even if at the end you're working in an office, paperwork, on a computer, it doesn't matter. But everybody goes through this, and you
grows.
mingle and you meet other Israel.
Yep.
You know, the people who are not from your town or your little bubble. you know,
Right.
from different social backgrounds, different economical situations, and you all have to work together. So it's very powerful.
Yeah.
Not so always easy, sometimes very boring. For me, it was very interesting, and I learned a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of also my teaching skills and analyzing stuff, because I went through, I was a commander, and then I was, later on in the officers course, I was training other officers.
Yeah,
when I was an officer. So
yeah. Yeah, so you're teaching already, started to take shape.
Yeah, and also when you're, commander, you have like staff, and you have to make schedules and meetings, and so a lot of things.
A lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was really, I think, a lot.
Yeah.
And until today, when I have like, I am together with my friend Naama, also Naama Agmon. We have for 8 years a youth project called Pegasus in Israel, and together with a great, amazing Marcus Sharman from Warendorf, and till today, when they at 18, because sometimes they start at 12 years old and they finish around, or they come back later, but they at 18 they're like a little bit, oh, should I be an athlete and keep on riding, or should I go to the army? I said, listen, decide whatever you want, but there's a lot to do, and if you do a full service and don't ride sports, you can ride till you're 70, 80, you know. Sometimes this gives you a lot, so just think about it, It's not always
one way.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And then tell me what you and Susanne now are up to, because this was like amazing. I know we kind of already said how we reconnected, but Susanne lives in Israel and has married and full-time lives there, has a family, and she was over in America having dinner with me, and we somehow started talking about Israel, and I was like, I just find it fascinating, and I'm like, I mean, and then I rode with Oded Shimoni for almost 10 years, so like I have this like Israeli connection anyway, and so then she's like, I'm like, so tell me about that. I'm like, I know a girl named Naama, and we rode together and she's like, I know Naama. Naama's my friend. We're in the same stable. And I'm like, it was crazy.
And I got a text, you have regards from JJ. And it took me a while because I knew you as Jessica.
Right.
Jessica Joe. Yeah. Anyway, it was really unbelievable.
Amazing. Yeah. And so, tell me what you guys are up to. And
so we know already, also for about 20 years. I know that because we got to know each other around being pregnant.
Yeah.
And I met her in the show, and then I saw her giving this clinic in Israel, and I said, wow, what's this lady?
Yeah.
Mind-blowing.
Yes, yes. I'm always like...
And since then, she's always been traveling a lot. So whenever I could, I was for a few years really training regularly. When she was in the country, she would come over to the stable and I learned a lot. And a lot of my teaching, I use a lot of her exercises and the way she analyzes stuff. And for 6-7 years now, we're in the same stable. So that's so great.
Cool. So fun.
So I get to see her ride different horses.
And just have a camaraderie and talk about stuff.
And last February, we were together with another trainer, Tal Goren. And unfortunately, the place we were had some changes, and we could not find a stable to house 25 horses together.
Yeah.
So we had to split our ways, and Susanne and I went together to a new place, and we're boarding now with 8 horses.
Nice.
And it's originally a Western stable, so we have a Western reining guy trains in his arena, and a Russian jumping guy doing his jumping, and we have our own arena and our own tack room and club room, and it's really nice. Yeah. And now that I'm here, Susanne is doing all the horses and all the... I'll get back new horses and new students sitting perfect.
Exactly right.
And I can just go on.
Yeah, so tell me, what were your thoughts watching Charles work?
Well, first he has a lot of surprises up his sleeve, I must say.
Yes.
And somehow I think you can see the connection, like also with Dallos, the system. He has a clear system in his head that he goes through, but it's not that everybody rides the same.
Exactly.
And there's a clear system, but he uses a bit different exercises, and the combinations are a bit different. And obviously, it suits the more advanced riders, and also the ones who are well, they're not beginners, but not as advanced.
Exactly. Maybe. Yeah, like lower level.
Yeah, and it was really nice to see just how the horses improve. Mm-hmm. And he just sits there and he talks calmly.
I know.
I should learn to talk calmly. Like
me too. I should learn to talk less.
Talk less. Talk less. This Swedish guy once said, I go to the shows and I see the instructors talk so much.
Yeah.
Talk less. Let them hear the horse.
Yeah.
It's very hard.
That's hard. Yeah. I know, because I want to like ride through them. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't ride like that anymore. I'm able to like be more quiet, but I got to work on the talking less.
But that's what makes you special.
Talking. But we're just so delighted to have you here, and thank you for spending some time with us and getting us to know you and our fun history. And
thank you for having me. It was great fun.
I hope the Dallos family watches this and loves it, because we use Gyula every day in our riding, and it was such a special time in both of our lives to be there and to have met. And to have rekindled a friendship after 25 years is just really special. So thanks again, and thank you guys for joining.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Dressage Life with JJ Tate. Make sure to tell your friends that they can find us wherever they get their podcasts, and be sure to subscribe, like, and leave feedback to help other dressage lovers inspire their rides too. For more information and education from JJ Tate, make sure to visit teamtateacademy.com/podcasts. Once there, take the next step towards joining JJ's new generation of classical riders by signing up for our mailing list, and we'll say thanks by sending you a special gift, your own copy of JJ's ebook, Riding Your Horse Sound, a comprehensive guide to developing a healthy and happy dressage partner. The podcast you just listened to is produced and powered by Red Mare Enterprises, creating possibilities through branding, modern digital solutions, and project management. We know the horse industry inside and out.